morning and welcome to the First Unitarian Society of Madison. I'm Kelly Crocker, one of the ministers here, and today I'm joined by my colleague, the Reverend Roger Birchhausen, and the worship team of Drew Collins, Linda Warren, Heather Thorpe, Daniel Carnes, and Stephen Gregorius. Today we are grateful for the Bielkowski family who will be leading us in our chalice lighting. The vision of First Unitarian Society is growing souls, connecting with one another, and embodying our Unitarian Universalist values in our lives, our community, and our world. We are so very glad you are with us virtually this morning, and we hope you will be able to join us for our virtual coffee hour immediately following today's service. The information on how to join coffee hour can be found on our website, fusmadison.org. I invite you now to join in a moment of silence to center yourselves. Bring yourselves fully into this time as we join together once again in community.
Our opening words come from Cynthia Landrum. Spirit of life and love, we gather together in different ways this morning. We gather reaching out across the wires, coming together in religious community, from living room to front porch to car seat. We gather as we are able, ready to be of service to each other, to the world, ready to build the community of hope and love as we face this bright morning. We are apart, but we are together, offering our love, our commitment, our hope, and our prayers in service to one another and this world. It is a new way, but an old way, that we come together in worship today. I invite you now to light a chalice or a candle at your home as the Bielkowski family leads us in words of affirmation.
As the chalice is lit, let us gather in this time and space we create together.
Let the cares of the week fall away, and may we know here is a place for quiet reflection.
For a pause in our lives, a moment to just be with ourselves.
Let what is said and felt here add richness to the dimensions of our lives and spiritual practices. We are strong together in community.
We share the experience of being human.
Let the warmth of the chalice flame connect us and carry us into the world.
On this Independence Day, please rise in body and or spirit to sing with me our opening hymn, number 1000, Morning Has Come. Morning has come, arise and greet the day, dance with joy and sing a song of gladness. The light of hope it shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home. A new for the gift is given. Wonder fills this moment shared together. The light of peace here shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home. Open our eyes to see that life abounds. Open hearts to welcome it among us. The light of love here shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home.
Our story for all ages today is called That Is My Dream. It's a poem by Langston Hughes that was made into a children's book by Daniel Miaris. That is my dream.
Hello and welcome back to another edition of Sankofa Read Aloud. Today's story is titled, That Is My Dream, by Langston Hughes and Daniel Miaris. I hope that you enjoy this amazing story. To fling my arms wide in some place of the sun, to whirl and to dance, till the white day is done. Then rest at a cool evening beneath a tall tree, while night comes on gently, dark like me. That is my dream, to fling my arms wide in the face of the sun, dance, whirl, whirl, till the quick day is done. Rest at pale evening, a tall, slim tree, night coming tenderly. Black like me.
I invite you now into this time of giving and receiving, where we give freely and generously to this offering which sustains and strengthens First Unitarian Society and our work in the world. You will see on your screen that you can donate directly from our website, fusmadison.org. You will also see our text to give information there. We thank you for your generosity and your faith in this life we create together.
As a lot of you know, I spent 4 years before coming here working as the executive director of the Unitarian Universalist Partner Church Council. During those years and the year before, in which I served as a part-time church governance consultant, I did not have a regular pulpit. I was invited every now and then to preach at congregations that had international partnerships, but of course I was pretty limited in what I could talk about. I'd talk about international partnerships. I didn't anticipate missing doing regular sermons. It is kind of a grind. And honestly, at first I did not miss the regular preaching. But then I started to, and that's part of why I made a decision to leave the Partner Church Council and become an interim minister for this last chapter of my ministry. Fortunately, given how this year has panned out, it is not the live audience that I missed most about preaching, though that is something I did miss and, of course, have missed this year. What I missed most, actually, was the chance to explore topics that feel important and to figure out where I stand on them. As I shared with you previously, Donald Trump descended that golden escalator at the Trump Tower in New York and announced his candidacy for the presidency 2 days after my last sermon in Appleton. That announcement speech was full of racist vitriol that perfectly foreshadowed the nature of his campaign and his presidency. That campaign and his time in office gave me lots to think and wonder about. But I had no opportunity to process what I was thinking and wondering about in sermons. The other big development during my time without a pulpit was the taking flight of the Black Lives Matter movement and the related struggle in our Unitarian Universalist Association with the ongoing legacy of white supremacy culture. These two things gave me a lot to wonder about during my hiatus from the pulpit. And one of the things I wondered about was my previous embrace of a sense of American exceptionalism. I preached that American exceptionalism gospel many times in Appleton. Now, my embrace of American exceptionalism was nuanced. I understood that genocide, persecution, and enslavement of blacks and indigenous people were deep, consequential flaws in the experiment that is the United States of America. I would acknowledge these flaws in people like Thomas Jefferson, but then lift up the better angels of their nature and how they embodied those better angels in much of the founding documents and philosophy of this country. The problem, I believed, was some bad apples among the founders and early leaders of our country and some folks like Jefferson who had deep flaws. Bottom line, though, is I believed in the premise that the United States is the most exceptional country in the history of the world. I believed that if you take away these flaws, our democracy offers the most enlightened, progressive blueprint for a nation. To use language that goes back to the Puritan settlers, I embrace the notion of the United States as the bright city on the hill, despite the flaws. Well, these past 5 years have deeply challenged my embrace of American exceptionalism. And I've wanted to wade into these tricky waters. And July 4th, being a Sunday this year, just was too good of an opportunity to pass up. So though last week's sermon was framed as a farewell, I just couldn't resist doing the sermon this morning. So this morning, I join in the tradition of Frederick Douglass and Ralph Waldo Emerson and others in doing a critique of our nation. I believe that critiquing our nation is patriotic. Through the lens of what I've learned these past several years, I now believe that we really can't parse out flaws like genocide and slavery and Jim Crow segregation. They are part and parcel what our nation has been and done in the world. And I've come to question the idea of American exceptionalism that I embraced for so many years. There are three big problems with American exceptionalism. The first is that this idea of American exceptionalism has fueled some awful actions. As you know, because I've mentioned it a lot this year, I keep coming back and thinking about American imperialism in the Pacific in the late 1800s and early 1900s, an enterprise embraced by liberals, including Unitarians and Universalists. Many of our UU ancestors were motivated by a desire to share what they thought was the best and the brightest mode of governance which had ever been seen on the face of the earth, with countries that had more primitive models of governance. They saw our democracy as the best great hope of the world. Who wouldn't want to have it, they seemed to think. And if others didn't seem to want to have it, then that's just because they were kind of ignorant and we need to teach them. This led our liberal ancestors, many of them, toward a slippery slope of imposing our American system on others, including, if necessary, by force. And this helped fuel our conquest and annexation of Hawaii, the Philippines, and other places in the Pacific. Our faith's collective embrace of American exceptionalism is why Unitarians and Universalists had an outsized role in that imperialist endeavor. My colleague, Reverend Fred Muir, found a reproduction of a painting from the Philippines exhibit in the 1904 World's Fair in St. Louis. A painting that perfectly captures this sentiment that animated Unitarian and Universalist imperialists. Before showing it, let me share some background on the 1904 World's Fair. It took place 6 years after the U.S. seized control of the Philippines. Though President Roosevelt declared the war over and won, mission accomplished, in 1902, insurgents still battled U.S. forces in the Philippines as the World's Fair got underway in 1904. The Philippines exhibit was the most popular attraction in the fair. It was estimated that 99 out of 100 people who went to the fair went to that exhibit. The exhibit was called, and this is interesting, the Philippines Reservation. 1,000 Filipinos, many clad in loincloths, were part of the exhibit. They were among 10,000 natives imported from developing nations to be part of what the scholar Walter Johnson calls the largest human zoo in world history. Now, this painting from the Philippines exhibit captures the liberal idealism that animated the 1904 World's Fair and American imperialism in the Pacific. It's a little hard to see this painting. Here's what's happening. Filipinos, some naked, are worshiping a white, tall, big American surrounded by old glory. The American figure is bounteously sharing the riches of our American system. An angel watches approvingly from above, signaling that the source of these gifts for the Philippines is divine. This painting depicts how Unitarian and Universalist imperialists framed their work. They were God's agent in sharing the divine gifts of America with the poor, the downtrodden, the ignorant across the world. The second problem with American exceptionalism, or that these last years have exposed, is that it's not true. I embrace the belief that our Constitution is so strong and perfect as amended that it can survive any and all attacks from within our country. I could not imagine an authoritarian ruler taking control of our nation. I could not fathom large-scale attempts to throw out election results. I believed that our courts and our Constitution and the underlying goodwill and commitment to democratic ideals of all people would prevent our nation from falling under the spell of an authoritarian ruler. I know better now. I see how naive I was. And this leads me to the third problem with American exceptionalism. If we believe that our government is impervious to being taken over by an authoritarian, we make takeover by an authoritarian ruler more likely. I was slow to recognize and work against the threat to our democracy because I thought our democracy was stronger than it turns out it is. And I believe that American democracy survived these last years by a very thin margin. Our democracy continues to be sick, awash in dark money, voter suppression, and deeper efforts to undermine elections. Indeed, I believe that our democracy is in more danger today than it was last November or even on January 6th. One of our two political parties is working very hard to suppress votes, particularly votes that come from Black, Indigenous, and other people of color. One of our two political parties is working hard to make it easier for state legislatures and Congress to overturn legitimate election results that it doesn't like. In the face of this, thinking that our democracy somehow is impervious to authoritarian assault is dangerous. Our country, like all countries, is susceptible to authoritarian takeover. American exceptionalism is a dangerous view. Now, I continue to believe that there is some promise in our nation's heritage and system, as well as deep flaws that reflect the truth that we, as Americans, are flawed human beings. I believe that the United States, like other countries, is not divinely sanctioned, but is and always has been embodied through flawed human beings. The extent to which the United States brings to life the good is in the hands of the American people, we, the people. It's always been up to us. Will we be a country where freedom and opportunity exist for all, or will we be a country characterized by bigotry and oppression? Which America are we going to be? We have always had that choice facing us. One of our country's greatest poets, Langston Hughes, wrote a poem called "Let America Be America Again" in 1955. His visionary, raw, compelling words continue to speak truth. These words are given life anew in this rendition by Abina Kumsan Davis, the musical director of the Resistance Revival Chorus. And so I will give Langston Hughes and Abina Kumsan Davis the last word today.
Let America be America again. Let it be the dream it used to be. Let it be the pioneer on the plain seeking a home where he himself is free. America never was America to me. Let America be the dream the dreamers dreamed. Let it be that great, strong land of love where never kings connive nor tyrants scheme, that any man be crushed by one above. It never was America to me. Oh, let my land be a land where liberty is crowned with no false patriotic wreath, but opportunity is real and life is free. Equality is in the air we breathe. There's never been equality for me, nor freedom in this homeland of the free. Say, who are you who mumbles in the dark? And who are you that draws your veil across the stars? I am the poor white, fooled and pushed apart. I am the Negro bearing slavery's scars. I am the red man driven from the land. I am the immigrant clutching the hope I seek and finding only the same old stupid plan of dog eat dog, of mighty crush the weak. I am the young man full of strength and hope, tangled in that ancient endless chain of profit, power, gain, of grab the land, of grab the gold, of grab the ways of satisfying need, of work the men, of take the pay, of owning everything for one's own greed. I am the farmer, bondsman to the soil. I am the worker sold to the machine. I am the Negro, servant to you all. I am the people, humble, hungry, mean, hungry, yet today despite the dream, beaten, yet today, oh pioneers, I'm the man who never got ahead, the poorest worker bartered through the years. Yet I'm the one who dreamt our basic dream in the old world while still a serf of kings, that dreamt a dream so strong, so brave, so true, that even now its mighty daring sings in every furrow turned, in every brick and stone that's made America the land it has become. For I'm the one who sailed those early seas in search of what I meant to be my home. I'm the one who left dark Ireland's shore and England's grassy lay and Poland's plain, and torn from black Africa's strand I came to build a homeland of the free. The free? Who said the free? Not me, surely not me. The millions on relief today, the millions shot down when we strike, the millions who have nothing for our pay. For all the dreams we've dreamed and all the songs we have sung, for all the hopes we've held and all the flags we've hung. The millions who have nothing for our pay except a dream that's almost dead today. Oh, let America be America again. The dream that never has been yet, and yet must be. The dream where every man is free. The land that's mine, the poor man's, Indians, Negroes, me. Who made America? Whose sweat and blood, whose faith and pain, whose hand at the foundry, whose plow in the rain must bring back our mighty dream again. Sure, call me any ugly name you choose. The steel of freedom does not stain. From those who live like leeches on the people's lives, we must bring back our land again, America. Oh yes, I say it plain. America never was America to me. And yet I swear this oath, America will be. Out of the rack and ruin of our gangster death, the rape and rot and graft of stealth and lies, we the people must redeem the land, the plants, the mines, the rivers, the mountains, the endless plain, all stretch of these great green states, and make America again. Langston Hughes.
If you'll join me now in a moment of meditation with these words from Rebecca Parker. In the midst of a world marked by tragedy and beauty, there must be those who bear witness against unnecessary destruction. and who with faith rise and lead in freedom, with grace and power. There must be those who speak honestly and do not avoid seeing what must be seen of sorrow and outrage, or tenderness and wonder. There must be those whose grief troubles the water, while their voices sing and speak refreshed words. There must be those whose exuberance rises with lovely energy that articulates earth's joys. There must be those who are restless for respectful and loving companionship among human beings, whose presence invites people to be themselves without fear. There must be those who gather with the congregation of remembrance and compassion, draw water from old wells, and walk the simple path of love for neighbor. And there must be communities of people who seek to do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly with God, who call on the strength of soul force to heal, transform, and bless life. There must be religious witness. Blessed be, and amen.
Please rise in body and/or spirit to sing with me hymn number 159. This is my song. This is my song, O God of all the nations, a song of peace for lands afar and mine. This is my home, the country where my heart is. Here are my hopes, my dreams, my holy shrine. But other hearts in other lands are beating with hopes and dreams as true and high as mine. My country's skies are bluer than the ocean, and sunlight beams on clover leaf and
Let America be America again, the land that never has been yet and yet must be. May we each do our parts to make this so. May you go in peace.